All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us today with another edition of Spincast. Joining us today from the state of Illinois, we have Jeffrey LIN. He is the president of the Esports Club at the University of Illinois. Welcome, Jeffrey. We'll talk a little bit about you in a moment, but really wanted just to say thank you for taking a moment to come on board and talk to us a little bit about your past, how you got to the position you're in currently, what you see in that space at your university, and kind of take us from there. But without further ado, hello again. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Cool deal. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Jeffrey LIN. I am the current president of LIN Esports, which is like the official organization at the University of Illinois. I'm also a founder of Illini Smite Club. I'm a current senior in chemistry, and I'm happy to graduate.
Understood. Tell me what the esports scene looked like coming into the University of Illinois versus what you see today. I would suspect you've seen some differences even in that short period.
Sure. So Illini Esports was founded about 1 or 2 years before I joined the club. My freshman year, a lot of things were kind of disorganized. We only had a certain amount of games supported. We had zero funding whatsoever. And then over time, as we've gone through many presidents, gone through many spaces, gone through many people, we've started developing more resources. So when I started here at the university, the game I wanted was Smite Battlegrounds of the Gods, which is just a random MOBA, but it wasn't supported by the organization. So I wanted to help support it and help people learn about it. So I founded a club named Illini Smite Club just to help recruit students to play the game with us. And over time, we practiced, we lost a bunch. And then over time, we won like a DreamHack 2018 Nice Smite Championship for $50,000. And that helped us fund a bunch of our equipment costs. And now over time, I'm now the current president of Illini Esports, and I'm trying to progress the organization itself.
Excellent. So let's look at that and do a little bit of forward thinking. Let's say in the next 3, 4, 5 years from now, what would you like that space to look like at the University of Illinois in respect to esports?
Oh boy. So a large trend with universities is to create a esports arena. Mm-hmm. So somewhere the students can hop in and play, but it's usually only for competitive, and the people are just there to view or like hop on some less powerful computers. And that'd be very, very cool. But really what I'd like is a program for students to participate in, to get scholarships, to have the opportunity to play for a varsity program. Something outside of college, so when you graduate, it's no longer, I had a lot of fun playing video games with my friends at a club. I had the opportunity to possibly go pro, hone my skills, figure out what I want to do with my life. And that's something very important to me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's an important topic you bring up, because I think having that organization with each university, and then maybe a regulatory body that kind of oversees it all, certainly will be critical as this space continues to grow and learn. It's so new that I think we're all evolving literally year by year with it. But you talked about going pro. Obviously, just like any other sport, that's incredibly difficult. It takes a lot of talent, a lot of work, a lot of hard practice, etc. But besides going pro, there's certainly a number of different career paths that esports can open up for you. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Esports management is a massive field. A lot of our past presidents or vice presidents go into work at TESPA, which is the collegiate side of Blizzard, gigantic company. And they've done the esports management side instead of the esports playing side, which is a little bit more forgiving, because you don't need to be constantly competing. You don't need to be grinding it out. But also, as any other job, you need to be working very hard to maintain it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I just love the fact that something that you're passionate about to begin can lead to a career path and doing something that you wake up every day loving to do. So I think that's neat. From a competitive perspective, how many games, what's your season look like typically for your club or for your team? And you probably have a couple of different platforms, but if you can pick out one, how does the season play itself out?
Sure. So we host about 12 teams, about 10 different games, which fields about like 70 people, give or take. Let's take Smite Club, for example, because I have hands-on experience with that. So at the beginning of the semester, or way before the semester, during the summer, you need to start recruiting. So you got to start finding these people that are interested in playing competitive Smite. After time with playing with each other and facilitating a more competitive nature, you have to register them for a team under the University of Illinois or whatever school you have. And then after that, you start competing. So the most important thing with competing is usually there's about one match per week, and you need to practice at least once a time a week minimum. So over time, you play. There's a pretty good chance if you're new, you get knocked out early. If you're decent, you'll probably get to the quarterfinals or so. And at that point, you need to be very, very serious about your gameplay, because what's on the line is not only money, but also your time and effort. So,
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that's important to understand as well. Just it's like any other sport. I mean, at the university level, the expectation is that you're practicing your craft to get better literally every day, whether you're in school or just before school starts or even once you go home. Obviously, the expectation at those levels is that you're getting better at it to compete at an incredibly high level. So I would suspect esports would have some of those same requirements. So that's cool. You mentioned that with all of your team base, you have about 70 participants overall. What's the interest level like at your university? Is it hard to get to that 70, or is it no, we've got a lot of numbers and now we got to whittle it down to 70?
well, it's an interesting question because if you're interested in playing competitive at University of Illinois, there's a pretty good chance no one's going to say no. But if you're not good enough, or you're starting to play the game recently, there's a pretty good chance you'll be placed in the lower teams, which is like the C team or like the B team, which are less competitive teams because we need our A team to become like the best, right? So you'll be placed on those, and then over the time, as you get better through training and practice and coaching, the idea is you make your way up to the A team.
Awesome. Awesome. So that's pretty neat because it's almost like a minor league level where you don't get turned away. You don't get cut off the team necessarily. You can still play the game you love to play. And depending upon how serious you take it, obviously the more you work and practice, the better the opportunity to move up the ranks, if you will. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, we don't like to turn people away. If they're interested in competitive and they have a competitive nature, they're bound to get better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's awesome. Who's your biggest rival?
Um, well, it depends in which game. Maryland in League of Legends has beaten us twice in the finals at Big Ten Network, unfortunately. One of our rivals in Smite is Carleton University. We beat them in the NACE Smite Championship, but recently they've gotten better, so we've had more competition. Um, yeah, that's about it. Robert Morris is very, very interesting. They have a nice esports facility, and their teams are pretty good around the board.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Good deal. Good deal. Well, it sounds like you have a little bit of variety in terms of that competition. You talked about the Big Ten Network. What is that?
Sure. So the Big Ten Network is a tournament hosted by the Big Ten Network. They specifically chose League of Legends as their like background game. So universities that are in the Big Ten, like Illinois, are allowed to join, and through this they can compete against each other. So Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, just the whole thing. And at the end, if you can make it to finals, you're able to be flown out to Las Vegas,
Wow.
which is a fantastic opportunity for people, no matter whether or not you win. Being able to be flown out for a gaming organization is absurd. So the students have a lot of fun with that.
Good choice of words. Absurd. Not so much anymore. I mean, this is becoming more and more commonplace. Obviously, I think for the casual viewer, the outsider kind of looking in, they might think it's absurd. But based on the growth, the sheer growth, and the number of dollars really surrounding this space, I think that's a pretty cool opportunity in general. Any word of advice you would give for a high school gamer in terms of they're looking to figure out what their path is moving forward? Any advice you give them?
Sure. Um, If you want to become a competitive esports player, a lot of people are going to tell you that either you're wasting your time or that you're not going to be competitive enough. And if you are competitive enough, you won't listen to these people and you'll keep going. And eventually you'll make it there.
Awesome. Awesome. Good advice. And that I'd say pass that word of advice pretty much with anything they have their eyes set on, whether it's gaming or anything else. Never give up on your hopes and dreams. So Jeffrey,
Absolutely.
yeah, Jeffrey, definitely appreciate the time. Again, I love to have different people in the collegiate scene just kind of come in and talk a little bit about what they're going through on a day to day. So we sincerely appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up again down the road, kind of check in, see how things are going at the University of Illinois on a different edition of Spincast. So again, we appreciate it and thank you.
Thanks for having me, Rick. Have a nice day.
All right.